Hmm. All right. Very cozy. Welcome back. I find myself here on another Tuesday night where we are ready for another chapter with our friends Fuzzy and Max. Now, forgive me, I have a little creature in my throat. Yes, okay, chapter 7. Now, where did we leave off with chapter 6? I see. Oh, right. Jones was forced to agree to reprogram Fuzzy to follow every rule at school, which Fuzzy didn't like the sound of, and so he just left. Yes. Okay, so that leads us to chapter 7.1, which takes place in Robot Integration Program Headquarters. He simply walked out the door. Nobody stopped him, not even the soldiers assigned to protect him. They followed him while their captain called Nina for orders. "Lieutenant Colonel! Foxtrot leaving the building, approaching perimeter. Advise." The soldiers didn't like calling him Fuzzy. They had picked Foxtrot, which is military call sign for the letter F, which Nina pointed out was at least as silly as Fuzzy. "Yeah, we see that. Let him go," said Nina, watching a monitor. "We're curious to see what he does." "Follow him, with 2 vehicles. But give him big buffer. Let him get into a tiny bit of trouble if he needs to." "Colonel Ryder isn't going to—" "I don't care about Colonel Ryder right now," yelled Jones. "Just follow the robot." Nina gave him a look. "You have my orders, Captain," she commanded. "Get moving." "Yes, ma'am." Then she turned to Jones with a raised eyebrow. "So now you don't care about Colonel Ryder?" Jones groaned, remembering the 101 times he'd been yelled at by the colonel, and realizing that Ryder would probably be calling to do more yelling as soon as he heard about Fuzzy leaving the building. "Of course I care about Ryder," said Jones, "but this could be the breakthrough we came here for. There was no logical reason for that robot to leave the school. In fact, there were 100 reasons why it shouldn't leave the school." "Yeah," said Nina. "I remember specifically instructing Fuzzy not to leave the school. He's packing a lot of awfully valuable technology in his innards while he's out there running around on his own." "He's breaking rules," gushed Jones. "He's making his own decisions. He's thinking for himself. We're in uncharted territory here. We may have finally succeeded in creating true artificial intelligence." "I don't know if we've created artificial intelligence," said Nina, "but I think we've created an artificial teenager." 7.2. The Park. Meanwhile, Fuzzy had downloaded a map of the area and was walking toward a park. He had read that parks are places of peace and quiet, and he wanted to give it a try. He had no experience with private property, sidewalks, or even looking both ways before he crossed the street. So he cut across people's lawns, slogged through drainage ditches, and walked out into traffic. Luckily, there wasn't much traffic in this sector, so the few automated cars that were on the road easily glided around him. He was aware that Nina's security team was following him, but since they were keeping their distance, he ignored them. He got to the park and found that it was a lot less peaceful than he'd expected. But he stepped into a grassy area and found that it was pleasant to turn off his hallway navigation, object avoidance, and polite behavior programs for a while. He saw the park's robotic gardener at work. It buzzed around, stiffly vacuuming up litter. It glided right past him without pausing. Fuzzy was too big to be litter, and this robot had zero interest in anything that wasn't litter. Excuse me. Tiny cold. This robot had zero interest in anything that wasn't litter. Once it had passed, Fuzzy shut down everything but his core functions and focused all remaining processing power on Help Max. 7.3. The Park. A cargo truck pulled up to the sidewalk, as close to Fuzzy as possible. "What a break," said Carl, the barrel-shaped man, as he toyed with the trigger on his electromagnetic disruptor. "Let's grab and go." "Would you hold on a second?" snapped Valentina. Those predatorial eyes of hers narrowed again. She stared at the robot, no more than 10 feet away. Decision time. She considered the offer that she had gotten from her client. $10 million for the robot, with its programming code and memory intact. $6 million for just the code. She had hired Zeph to see if she could pick up an easy $6 million by having him hack into the robot or Jones's computers and simply download the code. So far, Zeph had gotten nowhere. He still hadn't been able to track the frequency the robot was using to communicate with Jones. It must be a secure, heavily encrypted military frequency, he said. He would need more time and expensive gear, and he'd need to get up close to the robot. This wasn't an easy $6 million after all. She had hired Carl for the other option, the grab and go. That was worth an extra $4 million at least. Once she actually had the robot, she might be able to bargain for even more. When Sun Tzu Co., the company that had hired her, reverse engineered the thing, they'd have the most advanced robotics technology on the planet. That would be worth a lot more than $10 million. But was it worth the risk? Downloading some files over the net from a truck several miles away from the school didn't seem so risky. Grabbing the robot in broad daylight? Now that seemed risky. "I wonder if this could be some kind of a trap to draw us out," she said out loud. "It almost looks too easy." "It couldn't be," the barrel-shaped man insisted. "Nobody knows we're on the job, right? If they knew, the security would be a lot closer." "Zeph," she called into the back of the truck. "Where is the security?" "Don't see him." "I'm not asking if you see them. I'm asking you if all that junk back there can pick up their location." I'm getting some noise in the military frequency range. Scrambled, of course. Looks like it's about a click away." What is that in kilometers?" she asked. "I don't know. I think it's about a half a mile," replied Carl. "Zark, that ain't much." "It's enough for me to grab and go," said Carl. "Remember, Zeph rewired this truck. It doesn't obey the speed limit anymore." "Yeah, well, neither will the Zarking U.S. Army sitting in those SUVs half a mile away. If we do this right, they won't even know we've... Will you just shut up and let me think a minute?" $6 million? $10 million. "Zeph, you getting anything from the robot?" "Nothing." "Okay. Carl, we're going to try it your way." "Yes," shouted the big man, reaching for the door button. Whoa. Pull up your hood and put your eyes on first." Carl raised the hood on his jacket. Then he peeled 3 stickers, each one a close-up photo of a different human eye, from a sheet, and placed them on his cheeks and forehead. Valentina did the same. Zeph snorted. "You guys look like 5-eyed spiders." "Good," said Valentina. "Better than looking like a couple of criminals who are in every face database on the planet." "Speak for yourself," said Carl. "I've never been convicted." He tapped his head. "Too smart for them." "All right, Einstein. Go grab the Zarking robot then." The cargo door slid open, and the cargo door on the right side of the van slid open, and Carl got out. Valentina stepped out too, but kept one foot inside the van. If they were going to take a risk, she wanted Carl to take most of it. "Zeph, you got the truck ready? Escape route programmed?" "Oh yeah." "You got the control panel open? You ready to push go?" Yeah." "I need more than an yeah. Are you ready to get us out of here the millisecond Carl shoves that robot in the truck?" "I said yes." "Good. Carl, charge your magnetic disruptor. And don't use it unless absolutely necessary. It could fry some of his data, and that data is worth a Gates load." Carl stepped over to where Fuzzy was standing. "Excuse me, we read about you in the newspaper. Could we take a selfie with you?" "I would be very pleased to take a photograph with you," said Fuzzy. Chapter 7.4 The Park. "Great," said Carl. "Just step over this way and meet my wife." "Before or after you shove me in the truck?" asked Fuzzy, who had, of course, overheard everything. "Zarg!" yelled Valentina. "Abort! Zeph, hit the button!" Instantly, the truck rocketed away, with Valentina just barely able to hold on. Carl whirled around and watched the truck leave him behind. Seconds later, 2 black SUVs came flying up the street, because naturally, Fuzzy had called them in as soon as he realized Valentina and Carl's conversation and identified a threat. One SUV squealed to a stop and disgorged 4 heavily armed soldiers, who threw Carl to the ground before he could even start running. The other SUV never stopped. It was in hot pursuit of the cargo truck. But Valentina had planned out an emergency escape route, and even though it only took a few minutes for the soldiers to catch up to the truck, she and Zeph were no longer inside it. They were each in a separate getaway car headed in opposite directions. 7.5 Soy Burger 1. When they met up later that night in a soy burger 200 miles away, Valentina had only one thing on her mind. "Did you get it?" "Got it," said Zeph, holding up his screen. The robot messaged Jones and the security detail. "Pretty sure Jones's security is the one we want. Like I said, it's a military frequency, heavily encrypted, but it will let us monitor the transmissions." "What about downloading the code from their system?" "No problem, once we get past the encryption." "You better get busy then," said Valentina. "Can I get a soy burger first?" "Sure, my treat, kid. You earned it." Valentina was in a good mood for once. She was one huge step closer to $6 billion, with one less helper to pay off with part of it. The risk had been totally worth it. Well, that is the end of Chapter 7. Can't say I'm very fond of this Valentina lady. Kind of cold, kind of frosty, not super friendly. But I guess we'll have to wait to find out what happens in Chapter 8. So we will be back on Thursday night. But until then, as you know, it is late and I am tired. So until next time, bye-bye.